Please give a warm welcome to Moira O'Brien and Catherine.
Good afternoon, folks. Pathways is nothing to be afraid of. What you're all afraid of is you don't know. Okay, so we're going to cover as much as we can today. I'm not going to be covering the bootcamp manager roles because that only applies to a few of you. So what I'm going to be covering today is what's going to apply to every member. So what we're going to cover today is the overview, how you select your path, navigating your path, and a question that's been asked to me so many times: how the heck do we upload evaluations? Okay. Pathways has 5 core competencies. Now, I didn't know what the heck this meant. Did any of you? Did you know what it meant? Okay, competencies are the things that we actually learn when we're undertaking projects. So every path is going to cover all these 5 things. So there will be public speaking, there will be interpersonal communication, etc., etc., etc. Some obviously are going to be more emphasis on one and less on others, depending upon which path that you choose. Okay, I split these down into groups just to make it a little bit easier for you to understand. Sorry, that's actually the next slide. But levels and projects. Every path has the same organization. It has the 5 levels. The first one is mastering fundamentals, identical on all paths. The second one, learning your style, very similar for all the paths. There's only one minor difference. And there's only 3 required projects in it. In level 3, you actually start beginning to get into a bit of meat. And level 3, there is 1 required project and 3 electives. Level 4, again, it's building, it's getting more detailed. There's only 1 required project again and 1 elective project. And then in level 5, where you're really getting into the heavy stuff, 2 required projects and 1 elective. Now, you don't need to be worried about what's in the future. I know it's nice under the old system that you had the manuals and you can look ahead. Well, you don't need to be able to do that. Concentrate on what you're doing at the moment. So, a question to you. How many of you have signed up for Pathways? Okay, about 50%. Of those who've signed up, how many have done their icebreaker? Okay, not too bad. How many have done your speech number 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Has anybody done speech number 2? 1 person only. Okay, 2 people. Has anyone completed level 1? Maria? No? Okay, well, that's not bad. That's not bad. We've only been doing it since March, so that's pretty good. By now, you should all at least have signed up with Pathways. And most of you should have done your icebreaker. Set yourself a target for September that you will all sign up and you'll all get your icebreaker done as a minimum by the end of September. That should be possible, depending obviously on how many people want to do speeches in your clubs. Okay, choosing your path. Now, you don't have to accept the Toastmasters International suggestions. Just bear that in mind. But if you do the assessment, the questionnaire, Toastmasters will suggest 3 paths that you might be interested in a 1, 2, 3 order. Now, I've put them together here in pairs, just so you can see what goes with what. Sorry, that was it. I'll try again. I should have done this as 1 click, shouldn't I? And 1 more. Come on, 1. That's it. So, leadership, Dynamic leadership and leadership development are the two that are most likely. Effective coaching and persuasive influence, if you're in a coaching type of situation. Team collaboration and strategic relationships for team building. Motivational strategies, innovative planning. I don't know if they go together, but they were the two left. Presentation mastery and visionary communication, obviously for those who are only really interested in the speaking side of it. So, navigating your path in Pathways. We're going to go through this in a little bit of detail. You log into Basecamp, you select Access Your Path, you scroll down to My Education Transcript, and you open your curriculum. So, the first thing is actually accessing it. Now, I've skipped the earlier bit, which is logging into Toastmasters International with your TI login name and password. So click on Pathways link and it will probably ask you to put in your password again, and this page comes up. Now, if you're a member of more than one club, then you can choose which club you're going to be working in. Now, this doesn't actually matter at any time except when you finish a level. Because when you finish a level, you're going to have to decide which of the clubs that you belong to are you going to give your DCP points to. So that's it.
Decide at that point. You can decide at the end.
At that point, yeah. Otherwise you don't need to worry about which club you're working in.
Moira, on that, I think you choose a home club and you put your speeches against the home club, but you allow the VPE to put in your, like always, you to put in your, to put in your award. So, for example, I'm a member of two clubs.
Yeah.
But if I choose Republic of Works, because I do.
Yeah. Okay. But you can actually change your home club at any time.
Yes.
So
but
you
it
can
changes it every time. So what I've done is I've left my home club as Bishopstown because that is my home club, and then but Republic of Work will get my first Pathways.
Yeah, but you have to sign in when you close that level off. If you want Republic of Work to get the award, to get the point, you have to change your home club to Republic of Work, close your path, and then doesn't matter what you do after that.
You can do that in the last one.
You do that as the last one. You only need to do that at the end.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think you had to do that. I thought you could just give the VPE the go
No.
ahead.
No.
Just out of interest, where is this Republic of Works? I've never heard of it.
It's on the Southman process.
Can we concentrate on Pathways, please? We are, Gavin, we are running late, so we don't want to keep people. Now, when you click on, let's go back one, you click in that, this is what comes up. And the only things that you're really interested in now are My Education Transcript. Yeah, we'll come on to My Feedback and Speech Evaluations. Speech Evaluations just gives you a list of every evaluation form. So if you are evaluating somebody on a path that you don't have access to, you can find the evaluation forms that are relevant to that path. That's all of that. Your badges, that's entirely up to you to play with. Down below here, this section here, if you click on My Education Transcript, you will get a version of this coming up. So you don't need actually to click on there. All you need to do is to select your path and click on the button there. Now, if you've looked, as I have, you've looked at various things in Pathways, all these various things you looked at come up here, which is a pain in the butt. I recommend you actually mark them as complete to get rid of them. But don't get confused by them. The only thing that you are really interested in is, in this case, visionary communication. Click on visionary communication, this is what comes up. Now this, whatever level you're on, whatever path you're on, will give you all the things, the projects that you're going to be doing within that path. And in this case, because it's the icebreaker, and this is the one, the level 1, and this is the one that you all need to become familiar with as soon as possible in order that you can support your club members, you have 4 things to do. The icebreaker, evaluation and feedback, which involves 2 speeches, 1 speech which is evaluated, and then using that evaluation, the speaker gives a second speech, which can be the same speech or a new one, but using the evaluations from the first speech, so that they can demonstrate that they are actually taking on board the evaluations they've been given. The third thing is actually doing an evaluation on another member. Well, you all do that, I'm sure, anyway, so that should be a piece of cake for you. And the last thing is to do a researching and presenting speech. Once you have done that, you can then complete your path. But let's move on then to actually launching your learning. When you click on the right-hand side, this evaluate. Now, I made a little bit of mistake here because I went in and I'd done the first speech number 1 it's called, after your icebreaker, and I thought, oh, I've done that, I'll do the assessment afterwards, which will close that off. But of course, I forgot the fact that that section, the evaluation feedback, involves the 3 things: the first speech, the second speech, and evaluation. And I still have to do my second speech and the evaluation. Click on Launch, and that takes you into this screen. Now, a lot of people have said, I can't get any further. Toastmasters International is a huge organization, 352,000 members, all trying to access pathways, maybe at the same time. Well, maybe half the world, because the other half should be asleep. Wait. If this pop-up window doesn't come, there are 2 things. First of all, you must enable pop-ups. If you don't know how to do that, search for the information. It's readily available for Chrome, for Safari, for all the browsers. Now, what tends to happen is you're sitting there, the pop-up window appears, and then nothing happens. If nothing happens for about 20 seconds, close that window and start the process again. There's no point in doing, as Ted Malampy did the other day, sitting there for 20 minutes waiting for it to... if it's not going to come, it's not going to come. You see a rotating circle in the middle of the screen coming up after about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds. If you see that, then there's a good chance it's going to display. So after a few seconds, hopefully, this window will appear. Now, Toastmasters has been listening to complaints, because when Pathways was launched, this bottom bit was hidden. The window only sized to that bit. And you had to drag the corners to open the window up to actually see the whole thing. Thankfully, they've changed that, so we can now see everything. This little bit at the bottom is the most useful bit for you, because when you click on that, you get a list of all the elements that are going into the learning for that particular project. And you can scroll through. Now, you can go through by clicking on the forward and backward buttons. That's going to take you through page by page. But of course, what most people do is they dip in. They do a couple of pages, and then they go away and do something else, then they come back. If you click on this bottom button here, you can go straight to the particular page that you need to continue. There are 2 very important bits on each project. The first one is they call it the assessment, assess your skills before. And it's a questionnaire with, I think, 5 questions where you rate yourself with your skills at this particular time. And then to complete the project, you have to do that assessment again. If you don't do that assessment, you can't complete the project and you can't continue on to the next project or next level. So that is important, and you should underline that If you don't do it, you can't move on. Evaluations. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about this evaluation, but this is one of the final pages in that list. And it lists on the right-hand side the resources for that particular project. Now, for different projects, that list is going to be different. But every project is going to have this screen somewhere at the end of it. Now, for the evaluations themselves, evaluation scoring is very important. Now, what we've been used to doing is saying, oh, that person's super, so we'll give them a 10 or a 5, because we're only doing a 1 to 5 here. But I want you to think about this. If I give you a 5, I am saying to you, you are so bloody good, there is absolutely nothing you can do to get better. And I'd pay good money to hear you speak. How many of us can say about ourselves that people should give us 5? I know I'm not one. Think about it. Number 1, at least you're trying. Well, yeah, I'd be quite embarrassed to give anybody a 1, but they would have to be really awful. Number 2, you're starting to get the idea. So that's, for somebody starting out, you'd hope to see them getting a 2. Number 3, they're doing well. That's good. Number 3 is what most of us should be giving for people we think are good. Number 4, whoops, beg pardon. Number 4, they're superb. They're well on the way to distinguished Toastmaster. And as I say, number 5, I'd pay good money. So do think about that and be consistent then in your scoring, in your evaluation of yourself, as well as in your evaluation of others. And I underline that evaluation of yourself because right the way through Pathways, you're going to be doing self-assessment. Be honest with your self-assessment. If you're not honest, you're not going to be gaining. How to upload evaluations? This has been asked many times. Now, I did a little video. You probably won't be able to hear the sound, so I'll actually turn the sound off.
First of all, click on My Feedback.
But is that playing? So,
First of all,
this is your welcome to Basecamp again. You click on, that's going far too fast, isn't it?
Then
Let's start again.
e-portfolio.
You click on My Feedback. My Feedback then takes you into this screen.
Choose your level.
And click on ePortfolio.
And then
Then
add
ePortfolio, you have documents on the
file.
left.
And you can either choose
And
your
badges if
file
you want to, your own
or
badges,
drag
but
and drop.
documents. Click on your level, and then
here I've just uploaded my
you have the
nice
opportunity to add new. And you can add whatever documents you like. Select your document, press add, and there it is. So it's very straightforward. There's no rocket science to it.
Sorry, Marlon, does that mean that the evaluation is done somewhere else and you're just uploading it?
Okay, let's talk very quickly. How are we doing on time? We've got a couple of minutes. First of all, you don't have to upload any evaluations. This is entirely up to you. Secondly, every speech should have both a verbal evaluation at the meeting and a written evaluation. The written evaluation should be done on the Toastmasters International forms. They are very good. I do highly recommend them. Specific to each project, though there is a generic one where there isn't a specific evaluation form for that particular project.
Could I just ask, Myra, is
Yes.
there any online help as you're going through this? Is there a help button or anything like that? If you're not sure what to do next?
That's a very good question, and I've not asked it. I will look later. Okay. Where was I? Yes. What you should do is to download the evaluation form for the project you are doing and give that form to your evaluator. Alternatively, when your evaluator gets in touch with you before you do the speech, ask him if he has the form. Could he download it himself? One or the other. But just make sure that that evaluation form is available to your evaluator. Then ask your evaluator to either give you a hard copy or to email you back a PDF of your evaluation. Once you have that PDF, you can store it locally on your computer, or you can upload it to your Basecamp. But as I say, you don't have to upload it. You're not going to fail to complete your path just because you haven't uploaded your evaluations.
The evaluator doesn't load it on for the person.
No, nobody else has access to that, so you can't. Tony asked, could the evaluator upload it for you? No, you can't. All the evaluator can do is to email it to you or hand you the hard copy. And if you're handed hard copy, just take a photograph on your phone, and you can then upload from your phone. Okay, so quick questions and answers. We have about 4 minutes. I'll take you first.
Maura, you related to your last point there. When you give your evaluator the evaluation form,
Yes.
is it incumbent on them to upload or do it yourself?
No, only you can upload to your Basecamp. So your evaluator can only upload to his own or her own Basecamp.
Where do you get in the first place?
They can, as I said, every evaluation form is available to you. If you click on the right-hand button in Basecamp, which is evaluations, you'll see a complete list of every evaluation resource.
Can I just ask you, I registered to do the pathways back
Yep.
in June, I think it was the end of June, because we closed, we finished the But they emailed me back a message, and I opened the message, and I got back into Basecamp, but I had already gone through that process.
I don't quite understand. What's the question?
Got an acknowledgement email when he opened it, he was back in Basecamp again.
So are you able to get into Basecamp now?
I don't know what to do for us. I said I had more projects than I went to.
Okay, well, I suggest you speak. You're not VPE, I hope. Speak to your VPE, who I hope is going to have enough knowledge to help you to get onto Pathways. Okay, it's not. Believe me, it is not rocket science. I'd be quite happy to show you myself, but after the meeting, if you want.
You mentioned speeches and projects. What's a project?
A project can involve a number of things. Most projects will involve a speech at some stage. Now, I can't go into great detail, but if you go to the Talk Show for Talkers, irishtalkers.com, you'll find links to our podcast. We're going through every single project that there is in Pathways, one by one, and we're up to the letter L at the moment.
Is it organising a speech contest or something like the competent leader?
It can be, yes, depending upon what level you're on and what projects are available to you. Yes, Eric.
Maura, I don't know, does this apply to you in your presentation, but you have the qualifications CTM for Competent Toastmaster.
Yes.
What stage do you reach that with Pathways? Equivalent.
The letters that we put after our names, and I think most of us are probably quite proud to put them there. Apart from DTM, they've all a thing of the past. Now, it doesn't mean to say you lose what the letters that you've got.
Projects that you congratulate them.
You will be a level 1 Pathways, or a level 2, or a level 4, or a level 5. That's it. There's no, and I would suggest that maybe clubs think about how they individually want to recognise them. Yeah, exactly. Okay, any more questions? No more questions? I can't believe it.
I have a process.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just interested to know if you're somebody who's not particularly interested in sitting at a screen communicating with
Yes.
the website, how much of this program is available in the traditional materials?
Okay, if you go for the traditional materials, you are limited in the projects that you can undertake. So what I recommend is, if you are not interested in doing it online, that you still sign up online and you go into your path online, you can download the complete project and the complete. No, you don't have, no, you've bought your project, but you go into let me go back. Right. On one of these, you'll see here we are, print my project. Okay, this is on the evaluations page. But you also see it right at the very beginning as well, the opportunity to print. You can print the whole thing and then forget about the online bit. Yep.
Does that print from, say, level 1 to level 5?
No, it only prints the current project you're working on. We don't. One of the disadvantages and one of the complaints that we made to TI is that you can't look ahead as we can. You can't take a manual and thumb through the manual and see what your 10 projects are, or the detail of your 10 projects. You can only see the summary of each project that you've got to do and the detail of the one that you're currently working on. Maria.
So one of the solutions that we found for that in the Bishopstown Club was to set up a mentoring program between experienced Toastmasters.
Yep.
So if you have 3 people in that mentoring triangle, each one of those will get their DCP point for mentoring, and you could say have one person in that mentoring program that's in the creative mode that will have a lot to offer this group in how to develop a speech, for example. You might have one person who's technological who would be able to bring you through the pathway stuff, and so you're kind of helping one another along. So we see it as a big advantage then of learning new skills as Toastmasters, having been a club that's been in existence for 10 years. So that's kind of really working for us and has energized us for pathways, because previous to that we were going, oh my God, what's going on here? So
That's a very good suggestion. And I'm sure in every club there is at least one person who is technologically aware enough to be able to give that support. Well, that's it. I don't have any more time. What we covered was the overview of pathways, how to select your path, navigating your path, and uploading evaluations. There is a lot more to learn, and I do recommend that you do go to the podcasts of the Talk Show for Talkers on www.irishtalkers.com, because we are covering every single project. Thank you very much.